Alright, this is Writing to Learn Journal 7, Making Reading Purposeful. So the text I chose is for high school music level 4, which I believe is already senior year. And it's the strand is critical evaluation and response. The knowledge and skill statement is the student listens to, responds to, and evaluates music and musical performance in both formal and informal settings. And the student expectation is exhibit informed concert etiquette as a performer and an audience member during live and recorded performances in a variety of settings. And so the reasons I chose this TEAC, I've taken the whole chapter and done it into music, which is kind of different, but I think it'll go good. So the reasons for setting purposes prior to reading, and it is to direct the students to most important information. And for example, whenever you are going to either perform a song or you're practicing to do it, or even during recitals, there is always things you can find out about the song. And let's say, like my choir teacher, he would have us, he would read to us different things about the composer, and I feel like for this TEAC, which is to listen to, respond to, and evaluate music and musical performance, and also exhibit informed concert etiquette is a good reason to have a prior reading. And so for me, what I'm saying reading is reading like sheet music, going over, like, before you listen to a song, before you get into the actual thing, there's some things you could know, before. So this, like, you can, that way you can have the students know what they're listening for, or different things. And the chapter then goes into purpose setting techniques, and there's different questions you can ask before listening, and the first one is a literal question. And what I chose is what is the key signature of this piece, and what is the meter? And this is because this is something you can find. It's the first thing that shows up, and it's like right there, and you can see it, and that's the answer. Like, there's no trick behind it. You just have to look at it and you'll know. Excuse me. The inferential question, I chose this question because in the book it talks about, it's not something that is, stated. It is, but you can kind of know what to expect. So here I chose, what does the key signature and the tempo tell you about this piece? Let's say, for example, before listening to a piece of music, you can see the key signature. And the reason I say this, that with these two things you can get to a conclusion, is because if it's in a minor key and it's in a, let's say, largo tempo, which is very slow, you're gonna kind of know that it's a very, like, dark sounding piece. But it doesn't tell you that. You can, let's say, if it says like the tempo is moderato, and the key signature is A flat major, and that's the like me thinking that that's what the Stars and Stripes Forever is, and so I already know kind of what the song is gonna be like. And for critical question, I chose how does this composer's piece make you feel, and how do you think the composer felt when writing this piece? So for this one, there is really no correct answer. This is all based on what you feel, and everybody's answer might be different, but that doesn't mean it's wrong. And so this is just a question that there's not a single answer to, because it means something different to everyone that listens to it. And next we have student created questions, and student created questions help improve comprehension, and I believe it really does. With my prior classes that I've had, like music classes, it's always more helpful when we're asking more questions even before doing the actual assignment. And for music, let's say a good question would be, what era is this piece from? Is it classical? Is it Baroque? Or who was the composer? And so the very last thing is purpose setting techniques. And for these we already went to two of them, which are the questions, which we had the literal question, the inferential, and the critical, and we also went over student created questions. And these are just techniques to let your students know what they're going into before actually going into let's say, for me, listening to the piece. And there are others like student predictions and hypotheses, which they, like given what the prior reading, the prior knowledge, the prior reading before listening to a piece gives them, they can, kind of figure out what it's gonna be, because if I say Beethoven, they're not gonna predict it's gonna be a march, And then another technique is stating objectives and outcome. So for this, let's say you tell them something like, after the piece, you are going to have to tell me what's the meter in the song. Is it in 2 or is it in 3? And that way they know what exactly to listen to. And the last one is summary writing, which is just writing about what you heard. And this is always very helpful, and this is an assignment we get every time, with every music class, really. Even for me in my own playing, I usually, have to turn in what I thought about, what I think about a piece that I'm having to perform. And there are other purpose setting techniques, but I don't think they really apply too much in music. Well, they do, but these are the best ones. And that is it.